1. Michael is managing a construction project and he notices that the project is running over budget due to unexpected material costs. What should Michael do next? A. Request more funding from the project sponsor. B. Ignore the cost overruns and continue with the project. C. Perform a cost analysis and update the cost baseline. D. Reduce the quality of the materials to stay within budget. Answer. C. Perform a cost analysis and update the cost baseline. Explanation. A cost analysis helps assess the current cost situation, and the cost baseline should be updated to reflect changes due to unexpected costs. 2. During the execution of a software development project, Sarah notices that the project is 15% over budget. What should she do first? A. Request an immediate increase in the budget. B. Perform earned value analysis to determine the cost variance. C. Stop the project until the cost issues are resolved. D. Adjust the project scope to reduce costs. Answer. B. Perform earned value analysis to determine the cost variance. Explanation. Earned value analysis will help determine the extent of the cost variance and whether corrective action is needed. 3. Tom is managing a marketing project. The project has gone over budget and his team proposes cutting some deliverables to save costs. What should Tom do next? A. Accept the team's proposal and cut deliverables. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis before deciding. C. Cancel the project to prevent further losses. D. Ask the sponsor for additional funds. Answer. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis before deciding. Explanation. A cost-benefit analysis will help Tom evaluate the financial impact of cutting deliverables or continuing with the current plan. 4. Jessica's project has incurred unexpected costs due to a delay in material delivery. What is the best way for Jessica to manage these costs? A. Submit a change request to increase the project budget. B. Use the project's contingency reserve to cover the additional costs. C. Adjust the project scope to compensate for the extra costs. D. Ignore the additional costs and continue with the project. Answer. B. Use the project's contingency reserve to cover the additional costs. Explanation. The contingency reserve is set aside to cover unforeseen costs and should be used in situations like this. 5. Paul is managing a project where a key subcontractor demands more payment than initially agreed upon. What should Paul do first? A. Pay the subcontractor to avoid project delays. B. Consult the cost management plan and evaluate the contract terms. C. Negotiate a new contract with the subcontractor. D. Ignore the demand and proceed with the project. Answer. B. Consult the cost management plan and evaluate the contract terms. Explanation. The cost management plan and contract terms should be reviewed before making any decisions about additional payments. 6. Lisa is managing a project with a strict budget. Midway through the project, the Cost Performance Index, CPI, drops below 1.0. What does this indicate? A. The project is under budget. B. The project is over budget. C. The project is ahead of schedule. D. The project is on track. Answer. B. The project is over budget. Explanation. A CPI of less than 1.0 indicates that the project is spending more than planned for the work completed, meaning it is over budget. 7. David is leading a product development project. The sponsor requests a new feature that was not originally in the scope. What should David do to assess the impact on project costs? A. Implement the feature immediately to please the sponsor. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis and submit a change request. C. Refuse the request to stay within the budget. D. Allocate funds from the management reserve to cover the costs. Answer. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis and submit a change request. Explanation. A cost-benefit analysis will help determine the financial impact of the new feature, and a change request is necessary to adjust the project's cost baseline. 8. Mary's project is behind schedule and over budget. She is trying to determine the remaining funds required to complete the project. What should Mary use to calculate this? A. Estimate at completion, EAC. B. Cost Performance Index, CPI. C. Schedule Performance Index, SPI. D. Estimate to complete, ETC. Answer. D. Estimate to complete, ETC. Explanation. Estimate to complete, ETC, helps determine the remaining costs required to complete the project. 9. John is managing a construction project and he realizes that the budget for labor costs is running low. What should John do to stay within the project's approved budget? A. Increase the labor budget by submitting a change request. B. Reduce the number of workers to cut labor costs. C. Evaluate labor efficiency and identify areas to improve productivity. D. Extend the project schedule to reduce labor costs. Answer. C. Evaluate labor efficiency and identify areas to improve productivity. Explanation. Improving labor productivity can help reduce costs without compromising the project schedule or quality. 10. During a review meeting, Chris realizes that the project is significantly under budget. What should Chris do with the surplus funds? A. Return the funds to the client. B. Reallocate the funds to improve project quality. C. Use the funds for additional project features. D. Continue with the project as planned and retain the funds for potential risks. Answer. D. Continue with the project as planned and retain the funds for potential risks. Explanation. It is best to continue with the project as planned and retain any surplus funds to cover future risks or issues. 11. Emma's project has experienced cost overruns due to poor initial cost estimation. What is the most appropriate action to take? A. Submit a change request to increase the budget. B. Perform a root cause analysis to identify why the estimates were inaccurate. C. Continue the project with the existing budget and ignore the overrun. D. Reduce the project scope to stay within the original budget. Answer. B. Perform a root cause analysis to identify why the estimates were inaccurate. Explanation. A root cause analysis will help identify the reasons for the inaccurate cost estimation to prevent future cost overruns. 12. After completing half of the project, Leo finds out that the project has consumed 70% of its budget. What should he do next? A. Stop the project and request additional funds. B. Perform earned value analysis to determine the project's cost performance. C. Reduce the project scope to stay within budget. D. Ignore the issue and continue with the project. Answer: B. Perform earned value analysis to determine the project's cost performance. Explanation: Earned value analysis helps Leo understand the project's cost performance and determine the necessary corrective actions. 13. Maria is managing a project that is ahead of schedule but is over budget. What metric should she look at to evaluate cost performance? A. Schedule Performance Index, SPI. B. Cost Performance Index, CPI. C. Estimate to Complete, ETC. D. Variance at Completion, VAC. Answer: B. Cost Performance Index, CPI. Explanation: CPI measures the cost efficiency of the project, helping determine if the project is over or under budget. 14. During the execution phase of a project, Jake finds that the total costs have exceeded the planned budget. What should be his immediate course of action? A. Adjust the project's cost baseline to reflect the new budget. B. Perform a variance analysis to determine the cause of the cost overrun. C. Stop all project activities until the budget is reapproved. D. Inform the client that additional funds are needed. Answer: B. Perform a variance analysis to determine the cause of the cost overrun. Explanation: A variance analysis will help identify the reasons for the cost overrun and guide corrective actions. 15. During the execution of a marketing project, Karen's team is consistently overspending on resources. What should Karen do to bring the project back on track? A. Request additional funding from the sponsor. B. Implement cost control measures to manage resource spending. C. Increase the project scope to justify the additional costs. D. Cut non-essential tasks to save costs. Answer: B. Implement cost control measures to manage resource spending. Explanation: Cost control measures help manage spending and ensure the project stays within the approved budget. 16. A project is expected to complete with a significant cost overrun. The sponsor asks Linda, the project manager, for an updated forecast. What should Linda provide? A. Actual cost, AC. B. Estimate at completion, EAC. C. Budget at completion, BAC. D. Planned value, PV. Answer: B. Estimate at completion, EAC. Explanation: EAC provides an updated estimate of the total cost at the end of the project based on current performance. 17. Ryan is managing a construction project. Halfway through, the project incurs unexpected costs. What should Ryan review to determine if these costs were anticipated? A. Cost baseline. B. Risk management plan. C. Quality management plan. D. Stakeholder register. Answer: B. Risk management plan. Explanation: The risk management plan outlines anticipated risks and associated costs, helping Ryan determine if the costs were expected. 18. Jane is managing a project where the costs of raw materials have increased. What should she do to adjust the budget? A. Submit a change request to increase the budget. B. Use management reserves to cover the additional cost. C. Cut other project costs to stay within the budget. D. Adjust the project schedule to reduce material use. Answer: A. Submit a change request to increase the budget. Explanation. Any adjustment to the budget requires a formal change request. 19. Alex's project is nearing completion, but he realizes that it will go slightly over budget. What is the most appropriate action to take? A. Reallocate funds from other areas of the project. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis and submit a change request. C. Ignore the overrun and continue as planned. D. Delay the project to reduce costs. Answer. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis and submit a change request. Explanation. A cost-benefit analysis will help justify the overrun, and a change request is needed to adjust the budget. 20. During the final phase of a project, Steve realizes that the project will be completed under budget. What should Steve do with the remaining funds? A. Allocate the funds to other projects. B. Return the funds to the project sponsor. C. Use the funds to add new features to the project. D. Save the funds for future phases. Answer. B. Return the funds to the project sponsor. Explanation. Any remaining funds should be returned to the sponsor unless there is an approved change to use the funds elsewhere. 21. Christina's project is behind schedule and she is considering adding more resources to speed up the work. What cost management technique is Christina planning to use? A. Crashing. B. Fast tracking. C. Parametric estimating. D. Analogous estimating. Answer. A. Crashing. Explanation. Crashing involves adding resources to reduce the project schedule, often at an increased cost. 22. Mark is managing a project, and the client requests an additional feature that was not in the original scope. How should Mark assess the impact of this request on project costs? A. Perform a variance analysis. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis and submit a change request. C. Use the contingency reserve to cover the additional costs. D. Reject the request due to budget constraints. Answer. B. Perform a cost-benefit analysis and submit a change request. Explanation. A cost-benefit analysis helps assess the financial impact, and a change request is required to adjust the budget. 23. Julia's project is tracking well in terms of schedule, but there is a concern about cost overruns. What should she monitor to ensure costs are controlled? A. Variance at completion, VAC. B. Schedule Performance Index, SPI. C. Cost Performance Index, CPI. D. Earned Value, EV. Answer. C. Cost Performance Index, CPI. Explanation. CPI is a key indicator of whether the project is staying within its budget. 24. Paul is managing a project with multiple subcontractors. He notices that one subcontractor is billing more hours than planned. What should Paul do? A. Negotiate with the subcontractor to reduce their hours. B. Perform a cost performance analysis to verify the hours. C. Request additional funds from the sponsor. D. Ignore the overbilling and continue the project. Answer. B. Perform a cost performance analysis to verify the hours. Explanation. A cost performance analysis will help determine whether the additional hours are justified or require corrective action. 25. During a project review, Sarah realizes that the project will exceed the budget due to unforeseen risks. What is the best way for Sarah to handle the situation? A. Reduce the project scope to stay within budget. B. Use the contingency reserve to cover the cost. C. Ignore the cost overruns and proceed. D. Submit a change request to adjust the project budget. Answer. B. Use the contingency reserve to cover the cost. Explanation. Contingency reserves are set aside for unforeseen risks and should be used to cover the additional costs. Thank you for watching. How many did you answer correctly? Let us know in the comments section. All the best with your PMP exam preparations. You got this. Please like and subscribe.